Alright guys, I wanted to do a quick review finally on my Arnie Kim 1/6 scale handmade figures from Korea. So here's what I have. I first seen these custom Arnie Kim figures way back in 2003 at a store in San Francisco called Art of Toy Heroes Club. He had 7 figures on display. At first, I went in the summer of 2003, and he only had the 18-inch Game of Death custom Art Asylum figure in the window display case. And I was just like, oh man, I wanted to go back and look at it again, but he wanted like some crazy price, like $1,000 for it. So then I went back in the fall, or I think around September 2003, and I went with my girlfriend. I was looking at that Game of Death figure again, and then she was like, oh, come over here, check this out, you gotta look, that looks like him. So I went over there. I went away from that 18-inch figure, and when I saw these, I was like, oh man, my mouth just, I forgot all about that 18-inch figure. Still an awesome piece, but man, these just blew the sculpt away. I was like, wow, he really improved from 2002 when he made the 18-inch to 2003 when he started doing full custom handmade 1/6 scale figures. So here's some of what I have, my collection. But first, I like to show this figure right here that started it all for me. This is the Largo 1986 Bruce Lee figure, and I have a photo with me in this figure, but an open one back in '86. I saved my lunch money for a week to get this figure. Alpha Beta grocery store. I went there with my dad, and I kept bugging him to take me back, and I finally got it. And I remember the whole rack was full of the 2-packs, and yeah. So throughout the years, I was never happy with the figures. Once I saw those custom figures, I bugged the store owner to tell me who made them. He wouldn't tell me. He just said an artist. I guess he had a deal going on with the artist. Something happened, I guess, where it didn't go through. But anyways, here's the first one. This one's my favorite. I got this one in 2009, my first one. I wanted this outfit in this version. There's 30 pieces of this, but this one is special because it's the only one in the world painted by J.C. Hong. So I'll show you the close-up of the paint detail. I'm doing this review now because now I got a good phone that captures a lot of paint detail. I didn't have that before. So there you go right there. iPhone 13 Pro Max really captures a lot of detail. These phones are expensive, but they're worth it. Look at that. I wasn't able to get that detail before. And the eyeballs are just hand painted in there. I think he uses some like microscope and fine brush to do all the detail work in the eyes and everything. There's a side shot of it right there. Go around to the other side. Tell me that ain't Bruce right there. That's probably the most realistic Enter the Dragon figure I've seen as far as the head goes. I know they used kind of cheaper bodies back then. Arnie used some BBI 1999 cheap bodies, but they got clothes over them so you can't see them. There you go down. There's the hands. And there's a little plaque I made. What's cool about these nunchucks, they're made of metal, and the chain in the middle is scaled right to the scale. Unlike the Enter Bay ones where they're like cheap rubber and the chain looks big, round, and cheap, these ones were done well, like machined. Then we go over to this one. I had the plaque made for this one, and this one's another gorgeous one. This one is Way of the Dragon from 2004 fighting version. JC only painted one of these. He has this actual figure on his website, on his blog, JC Hong's paint art. You can find it online. My figure is on there. This is the only one in the world, as well as the Enter the Dragon, painted by Hong. There you go. Try to get closer detail. There we go. I showed my figures on Charles's channel, but they didn't come out, the video quality didn't come out like this where you can see all that detail. So I had to do it once I got this phone. Right. And this one is Way of the Dragon from 2003. There's 30 pieces of this made. This is Arnie's paintwork. One of his nicer paint jobs. I know back then he painted very like pale. This one has a lot of like shadowing in the paintwork. You can see that. And mine came with a nice tied backpack right there. I know usually they come with like, you have to tie it yourself. I was able to get the quarter head by Arnie. Only 20 of those were made. Go over here. Fist of Fury. Now this is one of Arnie's better paint jobs as well. He put the highlights on the skin and he used a tan paint for this. This one actually has acrylic eyes. Arnie was not good at painting the eyeballs in the beginning, so he was testing out with these, and it really helped a lot. He was able to get better at the face paint, and then just put some acrylic eyes back there so it doesn't look, so it looks painted clean. There we go. Damn. Shoes are glossy. Go back up. There's a side profile shot of Bruce right there. Look at that detail. Go over here to this side. This is Game of Death from 2004. 30 pieces of this. Oh, the Fist of Fury was 20 pieces. This one's 30 pieces. This one also has the glass or acrylic eyes cemented behind the sculpt. The hair pieces were glued on. Here it is. There you go. See the paintwork? Pretty good for an Arnie paint job back then. He made the head, the hands, and the little accessories, the shoes. He had the clothes made. Most of them were made by Ad Blue. Up here. There's the fighting version, 2004. There you go. There's the paintwork on that one. That's Arnie's paint as well. And we'll move over to the Game of Death Renewal, 2005. This is one of his best sculpts. And this one was supposed to be released by Enter Bay. I guess they were using it as a teaser prototype for the first 1/6 scale figure. That was a huge fail, I guess. The sculpt was horrible, but everyone wanted this one and we didn't get it. There's only 7 of these in the world. I was able to get 1. So there it is, the renewal. There, right there. And I actually have it in the book too, so I'll show you. There's the renewal right there. I have a book with Arnie stuff. And see, there's the one they went with. There's the figure that they ended up going with, which doesn't look as good. See the sculpt? Now you compare it to this. Much better. Oh yeah, that's the renewal. And Arnie actually made a prototype of the fighting version of that one, and I thought it was better. He never sold it, and then he made a prototype normal sculpt, and it was, I think, better than this one or the renewal, believe it or not. There we go. There's that one. So that's it. That's all of my Arnie Kim handmade 1/6 scale figures, and a review finally on them.